Well, hello there. Today we have the assembly of what the book calls an oil tank. It's for gasoline, at least that's what I'm using it for. I guess you could use it for oil or whatever you wanted, but it says it's a Garvee or Garvee. This is a 50-gallon fuel tank that has a little hand crank pump on it. We'll see how well that works. The main reason I'm getting this is because we have the golf cart that's gas powered. Just bought one of my sons that Polaris Razor or RZR, whatever the hell. I've heard it both ways, but it's a damn Polaris 1000 and it sucks gas pretty good. And right now I've got 6 of the 5-gallon gas cans, like just regular old plastic gas cans. Well, the damn gas cans that you get nowadays are $35, $40 or so a piece. So by the time you get 10 of those to equate 50 gallons, you're $300 or $400. So that's not worth it. And they're a pain in the ass to fill up, and fill up at the gas station, all those sons of bitches, and bring them home and get them unloaded, and then filling up these things are a pain in the ass. So for, I think it was about $200 is what I paid for this. And they've got them all over Amazon and the internet, different gallon sizes. You can get 25 gallons, 50 gallons, 40 gallons, whatever. But it's about half price for one of these than it is to get those small gas cans. And again, I can use this for all my lawn equipment, all the other shit that I've got. So it's just going to make sense, I believe, to get this. And I may add another one of these in the future if this one works good. It's going to save me trips to the gas station. It's got wheels and things on it so you can wheel it around. Of course, getting it to the gas station and back is a problem if you don't have a trailer and transportation to get it to the gas station and back. So I can see where this may not be right for everyone, but we have a trailer and a truck that I'm going to wheel this on when it's time to fill it up. Put the 50 gallons in it, bring it back home, put it in the shop, and just run that hose out of the shop to fill up the Polaris or the golf cart or my lawnmower, stuff like that. And the 50 gallons, it should last us a couple of weeks. So I'll go back to the gas station, twice a month and fill this thing up. And if, like I said, if I see it works good, I'll buy another one and I'll fill 100 gallons up at a time and just keep myself from having to go to the gas station. So it comes in a box like this. Let's see here, right there. Bloop. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unbox all of this stuff, get it all set out. There shouldn't be much to it other than putting the wheels on it and hooking up the little hand crank. And it's one of those reversible hand cranks to where you can either suck with it. If you turn it backwards, it'll suck things out. So if you're wanting to suck up fuel or suck up oil or some shit, you can. And then if you spin the handle the other way, it'll dispense fuel or oil from the tank out the hose to whatever you're trying to fill up. So there shouldn't be much to mounting this, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this going. I'll get it kind of put together, and then I'll walk you through what I did and how I did it, and let you know if I've seen any issues and things like that. The only issue I've seen so far with these, they've got really good ratings, is that they come damaged. So we'll get this thing, the box looks pretty good, but we'll get this thing opened up and see if there's any damage to it. But they're all pretty much the same. It's gonna be just I guess it's cast iron, steel tank. And one thing I've read on the negative side of these is that sometimes the tank itself will be filled with like the shit from when they weld these. I forgot what that shit's called, but basically the debris from it being welded together and all that shit. There'll be debris in the bottom of it, which you don't want in your fuel, of course. So I'll probably take my shop vac and stick it down in that hole, which that looks like probably the fill hole where you fill it up at the gas station. I'll stick my shop vac in there and suck it up real good before we put some fuel in it. So without further ado, I'm gonna get this thing going, unboxed, kind of put together, and then I'll walk you through what I did. So after I got everything unpacked and kind of got it laid out, the instructions seem to be okay. I mean, they're not great by any means. They're kind of vague, and the pictures are shitty, but we'll figure this out. So the first thing they want you to do is insert the axles which are gonna be these pieces here. You get 2 of them. And you'll notice on the axles, you'll have a short side and a long side. And just looking at the picture, of course, because they don't tell you, but looking at the picture, it looks like the long side is gonna be out while your short side goes in. And I went ahead and did one here, and that's the way it looks. Now there's 2 holes here. I'm not quite sure why there's 2 holes there. Looking at the photograph here, it shows the same 2. And I'm just looking at that weld line right there, which is the same weld line we have here. You have a bottom hole, a top hole, same thing on the other side, bottom hole, top hole. It looks to me like they went with the top hole. So that's what I did. Just went with the top hole. I'm not sure if this will be used later. I don't see what would go there. Or if you can utilize that bottom hole if you wanted more of this wheel to be on the ground or to, you know, to travel or roll or whatever. But this is what it looks like it shows. So what you're gonna do is grab one of these nuts here from the bag. You also have a nut that has a little rounded top on it. That goes on the other side of this. It goes on the long side after you slide it through the wheel, which is there. And I went ahead and put my wheel on first. That's the next step it tells you to do. But I just went ahead and grabbed my wheel, which these things feel pretty good. You know, they're the airless, just hard rubber wheels. So I just went ahead and inserted, and looking at these, it doesn't matter which way these wheels go, but I just inserted that in there, put this nut on the front, trying to get it to thread on there smoothly. It may not. The other one went on pretty smooth. So there it is there. It's kind of on there. They give you these tools in the bag that you can use. There's another one here. So they give you these tools you can use for shit. I just went ahead and grabbed, you know, my wrenches. So to put this on, you're gonna need a 13/16 and I guess that's 18 millimeter to put this on. Can't remember which goes where. Okay, so the 13/16 is what will fit on this outside portion here. And this is how you tighten this up. So you tighten that up, move it over to the other side, slide this in here, and that top one we talked about, just like this. And then you got your other washer nut combination, and it will go on here like that. And then just take those 2 wrenches that I showed you, you know, put one here, tighten that up, and just tighten them both really good and tight. And once we have those tightened down, we'll go to the next step, which is gonna be the support feet, which I think those are gonna go on the front. So we'll do that next. Another update on the 50-gallon gas tank pump setup. I know originally the paperwork looked like it showed, I know it showed, that these holes is where you put the wheels. I got to looking at it once everything was done, and when you put the wheels in those top holes, this whole thing is tilted backwards, you know, like that. So I said, let me try something. So I took them off, put them in the bottom set of holes, and now, as you can see, it sits up, you know, pretty level. I didn't put a level on it, but that's much more level than it was using those top holes. So I'm happy with that. I don't see any reason why you would use the top holes or why they even have them on there, unless somebody welded them on there or made a mistake or something. But all the paperwork shows the 2 separate holes. I'm not sure why. Just one of those damn things. But go ahead and use the bottom holes.
That way your shit sits up, you know, level when you park it in your garage or in your shop. It'll sit level. If you have it tilted back, you know, a lot of your fuel will be back here on this end and not on that end, and it may even throw off the way this thing pumps. You'll probably run out of fuel if this tube goes all the way straight down and this is angled back. You're gonna run out of fuel, but you'll still have fuel in here because it'll be towards the back side because it's tilted back, but you won't be able to suck it all up. It may even throw your gauge off with it being tilted back. So use those bottom sets of holes. It sits level. Now I think I'm done with it for the night, and we'll go fill up some fuel in the morning. So the next step, after you have these big wheels in the back that you use to roll it around with, you got these caster wheels that move around. You have one of them on each, or two on the front, one on each side, and they mount right here. There's these little wooden blocks that are screwed into these mounting studs that are already in the box here for you. So you want to take these guys off. These are trash. Throw them to the side. And then you'll have these wheels that already have, little mounting plate to them. And it just simply slides over those bolts that are coming out like that. And then over here with all your nuts and bolts and stuff, you'll have 8 of these. The good thing about this kit, I guess, is that you don't have a lot of similar pieces for nuts and bolts. Like you can easily tell, these 8 go for these wheels. Those big ass, lug nut things there, they go on those. So it's pretty easy to figure out what goes where. These are the little self-locking nuts, and you just put them on like this. You can go ahead and get them hand tight and then just put the wrench on them. Again, you can use your own wrenches, or you can use the ones that come with the tool, or the little tool kit that comes with the thing. And that's what I use to get these on. And just tighten them up. Once you have those tightened up there, then you're on to the next step. The next step, which is step 4, says you are to carefully align the threading on the oil pump with the threading on the pump pipe and then screw them together. So from what it looks like, the pump pipe is going to be that smaller of the 2, or really 3. You've got 3 here. This is going to be for your fuel gauge that tells you how much fuel you have in here. It's a really simple, weird looking shit here. Let's say it works okay, I guess. From the reviews I've read, a couple folks said it didn't work, but I don't really care about that too much. It's not crucial. If I run out of fuel, I can always just go get some more fuel. So, and this is going to be where I guess it's where you fill your fuel up at. I'm not quite sure, but from what I can tell, that is where this little hand crank pump goes. They also give you a little kit of threaded tape. So I'm going to put this thread tape on those threads, and then I'll just simply, screw this onto it. And that should work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. No need for me to video that really. It's just gonna be threading that on to that pipe. So let's go ahead and do that now. So once you have this piece put on, this little hand crank suction device piece thing, you're now supposed to, on top of this, put this little fitting, and this is what your hose is going to attach to. So again, put some thread tape on there, and we'll screw this in, maybe. There it is. We'll screw this in, and you want to make sure this is tight as well. Don't over tighten, any of this stuff. I'm not sure how durable it is, being that this wasn't super expensive. So don't overkill any of this stuff. Tighten it up good, but don't go crazy. Okay, so they might give you a wrench to go onto this, but I should have one for this size. So I'm gonna grab a wrench. If you don't, just hand tighten it really good, and with that thread tape, it should lock it down. But I'm gonna grab a wrench, tighten that up, and then the next step, maybe putting the hose on or something, or maybe the handle. But we'll figure that out. So once you have this piece all the way screwed in to the like the pump housing, you're then going to take the hose clamp that comes in the kit. They also give you this little screwdriver, which helps to tighten and loosen the hose clamp. The manual now says to attach this hose, which of course this will be the hose that transfers the fuel from the tank to your vehicle or whatever it is that you're using this for. And on the hose, you got one end down there that's got the metal piece. Of course, that's what you're going to use to fill up your vehicle or whatever it is you're using this to fill up. And then the hose end down here that's just open, that is what's going to go onto here. So before you put this on here, you first have to put your clamp on there. So the clamp, it just slides on just like this. Once your clamp is on, then you can put your hose on there like this. And then with your hose on, now we can tighten this clamp up. And to tighten the clamp, all you do is put your little screwdriver in here and you just turn it. Turn it clockwise to tighten it up, and we'll just get it all super tight. So the next step after your hose and your hose clamp are attached here is going to be to put the, I guess this is the like the fuel gauge. It'll tell you how much fuel you have left in the tank. And this is kind of weird. The next step actually says, screw the fuel gauge into place nearby. Very strange wording. We were just working on that part, and now we're supposed to screw this into a place nearby, which could be that, but I know it's that because that's where the little fuel gauge piece that moves up and down is located. So they give you these little cute things here. So you've got this, it's like a damn beaker. You got this piece here. So you just slide this piece on top of this like that. Now why you need this piece, because in the picture it looks like, where are we at? Here we are. It looks like they put this on and this doesn't do anything. It's just strange because this stays in without the addition of this piece, this little plastic piece that screws on. It doesn't have any purpose that I can see whatsoever. But we're gonna screw it on just because it's here and it wants to be a part of this. So let's screw this on. All right, so now that's tight. This part here on the inside, it is threaded as well. It's gonna thread on here. I won't use thread tape on this because this isn't a fitting that's gonna have fuel going through it, which is what that is. I don't have fuel going up through it. So this doesn't have to be, super like airtight, fuel tight, watertight, whatever you wanna say, because this is simply a very I don't know, medieval style fucking gauge, like very basic gauge. And like this pole thing is bent. See, this don't do anything. So like this thing here is a little bit bent, which again doesn't really matter. I mean, it'd be cool to have a gauge on here that tells you how much fuel you have left in here. And this thing may work great. It's a little bit sketchy. So let's slide this on. Let's try to thread this gray funnel looking device onto our metal. Trying to get it started here. There we go. And on this gauge, there's some numbers on the side. Let's see if you can see that. See here? So that'll be, I don't know what the fuck that 180 is. There's gallons. What the hell would that be? I don't know, but gallons are here, and there's 50 at the top. So in theory, when we fill this thing up with fuel, that little bent ass piece of metal inside here is going to move up to 50, and as the fuel goes down, it will then go down as well and show you. I'm not sure how tight this thing is supposed to be. I'm just gonna keep on screwing until it gets too hard for me to screw, which is getting there. About like that, maybe. All right, so that looks kind of funny, but that's where it is, and we'll see if that thing works. It may work. The next step they have here is step 8, which is insert the filter into the fuel inlet and cover it with the fuel cap. So fuel cap here, they have a filter, which is fine. I mean, this is, what the fuck is this? Where does this go? Does this go over here? Okay, so that goes in there, which is fine to filter the fuel that goes into this thing. My only, I guess, I don't know if it's a complaint, but if I'm getting fuel from a gas station, it's going to be filtered more than likely a couple of times at the pump. So when I'm filling this up, I don't really need a filter. I would prefer a filter on this side as I'm sucking up to go into my equipment. I would like another filter in case something gets inside of here to contaminate the fuel. It'd be cool to have a filter over here, but they decided to put a filter on this side for whatever reason. But as I said before I do that, I'm gonna grab my shop vac. I'm gonna stick the hose in here, and I'm gonna try to suck up any dirt, debris, or anything that's in there before I do this next step. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got my little small shop vac hose put in there and sucked up whatever was in there. Didn't hear anything or really see anything being sucked up, but that's what it is. Did that just in case. Now we're going to insert the filter. So you'll see there's like a little lip in there. So this filter fits down in there just like that. And this again will be where you fill up your fuel from the gas station or whatnot. And then our cap goes on, of course, to keep it from spilling and to help with evaporation of the fuel that'll be inside of here. And this cap will come on and off as you as you need it to, as you go to the gas station and fill up. So no reason to go stupid tight with it, just tighten it up some. We should be, well, that is strange here. I'm looking at this. Unless I missed a step. Did I miss a step anywhere? I don't think I did. All right, so I didn't miss a step, but there's no step showing you a couple of things. There's no step showing you what the actual hell this piece is for. There's no step showing you Ah, fuck. There goes the goddamn fucking thread tape. Yeah, so there's no step in here showing you how this handle goes on, which I would think is pretty important. There's nothing showing in here about where or how to, I'm thinking this is how you ground this thing to keep sparks and shit from sparking and you know, catching the fuel on fire. There's no steps in here, I don't think. Maybe there is. I think this last page. Yeah, see the last page is telling you to insert the handle into place on the caddy's frame, which this is the handle here. This is how you can move this thing around, and it'll just slide in these holes in the back. Once you kind of get it in there, stretch it out some, like that. And then there's some bolts that go in there. That's easy and simple enough. There's a couple more bolts, washers and things here. There's a wing nut here. Not sure where that goes. I'm assuming that goes with this little grounding thing. So after securing the handle with bolts, which I'll do that in a minute, that's easy. It does say connect one of the electrostatic clamps to the gas caddy's pump and the other to your fuel reservoir. So I'm not going to even probably do that. I know that's supposed to be some kind of, you know, safe way to do things, but I don't believe I'll be doing that. And then it just says turn the pump handle clockwise to pull fuel to the caddy or counterclockwise to release fuel from the caddy. Sounds okay. But again, doesn't tell you how to put this on. But I'm sure I can figure it out. It looks, yeah, it'll just go on here like this. So there's a little copper, looks like brass or whatever the hell it is, brass bolt thing here. That comes out. Your handle can only go on one way. So you got a big side here. Looks kind of like a D. It's got that one side that's straight. That will go on there, which leaves you this side here that you put the little bolt back into. I'm gonna need to switch hands. So once you get that in, now you're able to crank it. And yeah, I can feel some resistance. Okay, so that's not bad. So I'll tighten up that bolt. And this is gonna be where, and I'll do it just to do it, I guess. But I would say, you got this clamp and these wires. I'm gonna think that the wires go here, and then you put this little piece down on top of all the wires. And then to ground it, once you have this wire and stuff attached to here, I'm thinking whenever you're filling up or when you're getting fuel from the place you're getting the fuel at, you're supposed to take this clamp side and you clamp it to whatever you're doing. So say I'm filling up a lawnmower. This metal is you know, attached here by that little wing nut, and then I'll clamp this onto my lawnmower. And I think that does something with the static electricity or grounding this metal piece against the metal piece that I'm using and all that. I don't know a whole lot about that stuff because it doesn't really concern me a whole lot. I've never seen, in my 44 years of dealing with fuel and lawn equipment and stuff, I've never seen, you know, anybody blow up or any of these vapors ignite and all that stuff. So I won't be too concerned about that, but I will put that on there. I'll wrap it around there and twist that wing nut down. I'll get this tightened up. Once I do that, oh, and I'll get my bolts in here. Once I do all that, it's getting dark out here now, but tomorrow I'll go to the gas station. I'll put 50 gallons of fuel in here. and I'll come home and we'll try to pump some fuel and see if this thing actually pumps fuel the way it's designed to do. Okay, so upon further investigation, I think I figured out what this is supposed to be for, because I have a part left over. I was thinking that's where you screw the damn, electrostatic clamp thing to, but I don't think so. I have a part left over, this little thing here. And I was like, what could this be? So I'm pretty sure this is to hang the hose, because your hose is just hanging there. So it fits the diameter of the hose. So I'm gonna say that this will just hang on the side of this. This will then screw on to keep this thing from moving or coming off. Doesn't fit on great, but so I think you're going to be able to do it like that, and then you can take your hose, and this, this makes sense. And then take your hose, and just have your hose sit there where it's not sitting on the ground. So that's where that's going to go, I think. And then when I read this note again in here about connect one of the electrostatic clamps to the gas caddy's pump and the other to your fuel reservoir. And when I say fuel reservoir, that's going to be anything that you're transferring, the vessel that you're transferring fuel from into this, or vice versa. When you're transferring fuel from this into a lawnmower or a side-by-side or whatever, then you attach that little clamp to it. So it says to the pump, and this is the pump here. Now what am I supposed to do? Just wrap this around something, I guess? It's still stupid, vague, not clear. And I'm not sure, because all of this moves. So I'm not really sure where they want me to put this at. You could loosen up one of these and stick it around there perhaps, but I don't want to really fuck with any of this stuff, because if it's torqued down to a certain spec or anything like that, I don't want to damage it or mess it up. So again, not quite sure where to put this, but I'm going to go with my original thought, which was putting it around this wing nut. Because this is all metal. That's metal. So I would assume that this is going to work. So I'm going to undo this. And I did strip this wire some more. They gave you a little bit of wire sticking out like that. So I went ahead and stripped some more of that wire so I can wrap it around this thing fully and then push it in there. So I'm going to do that. That'll be done. And then I will be officially, ready to go get some fuel in the morning, fill this thing up and see what it's all about. All right, so I went to the gas station and filled this thing up with fuel. I don't think it filled all the way up, because I went ahead and filled up 3 or 4 of these. And as I was filling this up, it stopped at $175, which was like 53 gallons or something. And I filled up a few of these, which was like 10 gallons. So there might be 40 gallons in here. I guess it just stops at a certain dollar amount at that gas station I was at. So I don't think this thing is completely full. Looking at the gauge, maybe. See if you can see that on there. You might not be able to see it very well, but it looks like 45 is what it shows on the tank, on the little gauge. So that might be accurate. There's probably 45 in there, maybe 45. I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. Now we're going to try for the first time to put some fuel into the lawnmower. So let's try this out. We'll take the hose. The hose gets stuck down in here into our gas tank. And then I guess we just pump it in there. I'm about halfway full in my lawnmower, so I don't need a whole lot. And let's see, I can't remember what they said, if it's clockwise to pump or counterclockwise, but if you're standing at this thing looking at it, let's go counterclockwise. See what it does. Let's see if it's sucking up fuel. I smell fuel. That might be to suck up. Let's try clockwise this time. There we go. All right, so clockwise will pump the fuel out for you. It pumped that shit pretty damn quick. It didn't take much of a turn. So let's try to get some more out here. That's pretty cool. So far, I like it. I mean, especially if you're filling up something that needs a lot of fuel, this would come in handy. The only downside really that I see, of course, will be this hose. You know, you're gonna have some fuel stuck in this hose unless you work it down, which is what I'm doing. I'm just working the fuel down into the hose and then picking up on it, and then it's filling that thing up. So you do have to be careful with this if you're filling something up, because you know you don't have like an on-off switch type deal. So whatever amount of fuel you have left in the hose, you would either have to pick up on this side and let that fuel run back down into here, you know, whatever. But so I mean, I really do like it. It seems pretty cool. Let's pump some more in there. I don't need a lot more in there, but I could use some more in that old tank. And that's a big size, you know, hose compared to the little nozzle that you're pumping fuel of out of a container like that. Yeah, that's a good 50% bigger hose, I would think. So it'll fill things up a lot faster. And it's neat. Yeah, I think I like it. I think I like it for a few different reasons. Yeah, this thing is just about full now. I can see the fuel in my tank right there. So, so honestly, that's probably good enough. So once you're done with it, you just pull your hose out, give it a couple little shakes, then you can put your hose back on this thing. I guess, let's see. Now it's acting kind of damn funny to me. There's some more fuel in this hose. One thing I did read about as well on this that somebody had a complaint about. Someone complained that this hose, I guess, like just gave out, had a hole in it or some shit, because the fuel would sit down in the bottom of it and just sit there, I guess. I guess it wound up eating through the hose. But if you use this enough, that shouldn't be that much of an issue, because you'll keep fuel moving through there. It won't just sit. And I'm sure these hoses aren't that expensive to replace, but the main thing you're getting is this big ass tank, which I wanted, and you get a pump that comes out of the tank. So yeah, I would say it's definitely worth the $250 or whatever it is I paid for it. Just the simple fact that you get to store a bunch more fuel here, and it's easier to pump, and it pumps a shit ton of fuel out of here. I mean, that was really quick. If I was filling up a vehicle or that side-by-side or something, it won't take any time at all to pump 7 to 10 gallons of fuel out of here to fill up that side-by-side. And I think what I'm gonna do is just run this bitch out the window to fill that up, so I don't have to wheel this around, because this hose, it won't reach outside. from where I have it stored at, which I think is the best place in here to store it. So I can fill up all my junk in here and then just run it out the window and fill that up. Anyway, so I'm going to say, yeah, get you one of those. If you have the means, get one. It's worth it. It seems pretty cool. If I have any issues with it, as I'm using it this season, I'll post something negative about it. But so far, all positive, all good.